LA Chargers versus Tennessee Titans, Week 9 preview. Let's get it. What's up, Bull fans? How are we feeling? It is I, Jake Silva, here on Chargers Syndicate, giving you everything LA Chargers news and more. If it is your first time ever up onto the channel, I encourage you guys to like, subscribe, hit the bell button, keep you up to date on future and past videos, as this video is presented by greengridiron.com. Get your hands on these collectible life-size and miniature helmets from greengridiron.com today. Your team, your style, your way, and these are just absolutely a must-have, especially when you're getting closer into the holiday season. Check it out, greengridiron.com. Use promo code LACSYN at checkout. That's LACSYN for your exclusive discount at checkout. All righty, Charger fans, it is time for us to really break down this LA Chargers matchup against the Tennessee Titans on the road in Nashville, Tennessee at Nissan Stadium. This is going to be an interesting game, in my opinion, because there's going to be lots to look forward to before the trade deadline does come upon us in the next couple of days. Now, the LA Chargers are coming off of a massive win against the Minnesota Vikings on a short week on Thursday, where they beaten them 37-10. The LA Chargers really dominated, even with these Navy uniforms that they came out with. Super clean, gave me so much nostalgia. That we ended up getting gifted for another week to showcase them against the Houston Texans in week 17. So we have the bye week against the Las Vegas Raiders, and then week 17 against the Houston Texans. So the LA Chargers right now, they have a lot of things that they got to think about. So ultimately, positions of need, which is interior offensive line, running back, and then maybe potentially a defensive player, whether it's an edge rusher, a corner, somebody that could really be explosive on the rotations for the Chargers moving down the stretch. Now, the Chargers are going to be facing off against the number 1 overall pick in Cam Ward, who we know that has no support. Right now is in a clear rebuild mode. They already have fired their coach, Brian Callahan. So the Tennessee Titans right now are just basically playing for top picks into the NFL draft and maybe end up getting somebody that will be impactful for their organization in the future. Now, the Chargers, they got other plans in place because the next couple of weeks is going to be between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars before going into the bye week and then facing the Las Vegas Raiders off the bye. So they would like to get some impactful pieces up from here, but it's only depending upon whether Joe Ortiz is looking to spend the money or whether he's looking to move some capital and get some upgrades in the middle of it. Now, the other biggest part of it is that there's cap space adjustments that the Chargers know that they need to have, which is about $2.8 million. Now, unless if somebody gets restructured, that may be a position in which the Chargers can be in that discussion with one of their players or two. So the Chargers really do have a lot to think about before the trade deadline in itself. Now, again, positions of need when it comes to the interior offensive line. I really was hoping that Eric McCoy would be available and healthy, but unfortunately now he's out for the season. But that doesn't mean that his next man, Trevor Penning, wouldn't be somebody that would be an interesting upgrade and pickup coming into the trade deadline. Somebody that can really help out into the interior offensive line and come into the rotations with Jamari Salyer, Trey Pipkins, and multiple others up front, on top of Zion Johnson and Mekhi Becton that we already have. Now, the other discussion that's been there, Evan Neal has been a name that's been mentioned. So they've looked into a bunch of different options. I think Evan Neal would be interesting because it would feel a lot like a situation in which Mekhi Becton was in prior, where he was with the New York Jets, goes into the Philadelphia Eagles and was a low-risk, high-reward type player where it really helped out on the interior offensive line, creating running lanes for Saquon Barkley and pass protection for Jalen Hurts to distribute the ball to his weapons. So that's an interesting option. Now, the running game, of course, Kamani Vidal has really stepped up and showed up in big ways before Amarian Hampton comes back from injury reserve. Now, the Chargers come after this week. They will be opening up the window for his return. But it would be nice to end up potentially getting somebody in the running back position that could be an upgrade. Breece Hall has been a name that's been mentioned. I've heard about Alvin Kamara, but I'm not really a fan of it after just the comments that he ended up making, saying he's not going to be leaving from New Orleans. So I wouldn't even touch it at that point down the stretch. Now, other options that's also involved, Rocket Sanders has been a name that's been mentioned. Also, Donovan Edwards, somebody that I think could be a low-risk, high-reward type player with his experience and his relationship with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. And depending on if that will work or not. So I think the Chargers do have a handful of options. It's not a desperate need, but it is something that the Chargers would like to have as a 1-2 punch, knowing Najee Harris is out for the season, and they probably won't end up extending him back. They will probably move on from him after this season ends. Now, defensive players. Tarheeb still is out. Tony Jefferson was out this week. Now, I thought we were honestly going to end up inquiring about Minkah Fitzpatrick, but unfortunately, that's not the case. So they ended up signing Marcus Williams, the safety, who's 29 years old, still has a lot of juice in the tank, really good pass defending safety. Now, again, I thought Minkah Fitzpatrick, for as cheap as he was, already traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Miami Dolphins, where it all started. And because the Dolphins are going to be potentially blowing some things up, I just don't know if that would have been the case. So unfortunately, that didn't end up panning through. We get Marcus Williams, but I'm not mad about that signing either. Now, Asante Samuel Jr., he's a free agent right now. And the last workouts that we've seen up on X, he looks like he's in the healthiest shape of his life, where he's been doing a lot of really good workouts. Feet work seems to be really good, but now it's about incorporating him back into a Jesse Minter defense that's physical, that's getting after the receivers, and also being a pass defensive corner as well. So that's a possibility as well. And the Chargers could be looking for other options up at corner or at safety at that point. Now, another position of need could be edge rusher. And we know we got Odafe Oweh. We know that we have Khalil Mack and we have Thule. But we know that part of that rotation, Bud Dupree, not exactly hitting the expectations we hoped that he would have. So they're probably going to move off of him after this season and end up investing for a different edge rusher. Now, Kayvon Thibodeau has been a name that's been mentioned. They want a first-round pick now after the news that we've heard from the Giants. So is it worth giving up a first-round pick for a talent that's young, the talent, a guy that can really stop the run, mostly in those areas, and if it's going to be worth the money and the longevity down the road? I'd say it could be, but there are other options as well. Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and multiple others. I don't see us really going after someone like Trey Hendrickson. I think the price is just too steep at that point, and it's not worth giving up picks for a team that we know is in dire need of draft capital at the end. So lots of coming close to the trade deadline. But even on this focus for this game in particular, it's going to be, they have to show out with the depth that they have against the Tennessee Titans, who is a rebuilding team. Run game staying consistent and efficient. Offensive weapons continually to put points on the board, even after Ronnie Gadsden have a great game that he had last week, and that Trey Harris with his first reception touchdown. That's going to be one of those big takeaways the Chargers really have to think about. My final score prediction in this game, I feel like it's going to be a 28-17 game. The Chargers really dominating up and onto the ground game. And not to mention Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, who was just statless last week, who was nowhere to be found for the Minnesota Vikings. I honestly think that he comes alive up into this game as well, because it's just showing what we have up on depth, showing exactly what we're moving into in the next few weeks, and coming to the bye week in which we'll be healthier, we'll be stronger, and we'll be ready to be going up onto a momentum that will eventually get us over the top to start winning some playoff games once we punch the ticket up and into the playoffs. So that's the one thing we also have to consider. So I think this game's going to be 28-17. They win against the Tennessee Titans and be prepared for the next 2 weeks against the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars before having to go up onto the bye week. So I'm curious of what that's going to look like. I'm excited, though, because we get a chance to see a lot of the Chargers we did not get a chance to really evaluate. So hopefully, and who knows, maybe we might end up looking at Keandre Lambert-Smith. I would like to see a little bit more of his gameplay in there incorporated. So there's many options that the Chargers could really be utilizing up to this game. But I think this is a game of continuing the momentum train, get some of the youngsters more up and involved, see what we have up on depth, and then go into the trade deadline with optimism and who we need in order to plug in for the next few weeks ahead. That's going to do it here for me on Charger Syndicate. Like, subscribe, hit the bell button. Let me know what you guys think about the score prediction of 28-17 against the Tennessee Titans. Let me know what you guys also think we should be doing on the trade deadline as well come the next couple of days. We'll see you guys right up and after the game, and always remember to bolt up all season long.